There are many ways to play Magic the Gathering, and Pioneer is the brewer's paradise.
Shaped by semi-constant bannings in its early days, this is the way to play that attracts the lovers of the weirdest combos and the wildest decks.
We had our viewers at home vote for the 16 best Pioneer decks in history and played a tournament pitting them against each other to find the strongest.
And now we finally have it. We have a top 8 of what could easily be the most powerful Pioneer decks of all time.
And after 7 videos, we'll be finally able to crown the best Pioneer deck ever. Come.
No, my crown.
No, you didn't win yet. Oh, thank you. Follow us for the next series. Today is the last match of the quarterfinals, and I get to play Archlight Phoenix, a deck that has been a top tier deck through all of Pioneer's history, and it's all about this cute little 3/2. Plan is to get it into the graveyard, then play spells to get it out of the graveyard, and then win, because we have so many and they attack for basically no cost. And by doing that, we get to draw cards, kill opponent's creatures, win the game. I actually gonna start by taking a mulligan. Unfortunately, our hand is not only quite slow, it doesn't even have an Archlight Phoenix, the card our deck is named after, so we must be concerned. Additionally, we are playing against Jamin, we are playing against Demon Inverter, and that means we have to keep a hand that is good in that matchup, meaning we need to be quick and we need to be disruptive.
Yeah, I'll keep this crown just as I'll keep this hand. Inverter of Truth is one of the best combo decks in Pioneer ever because you just win by resolving one spell in the late game, and all the rest of your deck is filled with the best interaction in Pioneer.
Rerun. See, much better. We have an Archlight Phoenix, we have a card to put it into the graveyard, and we have a thing in the eyes to start attacking. Let's go. Hey, you're really keeping the crown.
Of course.
Well, I'm gonna snatch it. I will play a Spire Bluff Canal, which enters untapped, and I will say go.
I'll draw. I'll play an island. And it looks like we've got ourselves a standoff.
At the end of your turn,
Yeah,
I will do nothing.
that's menacing.
Draw. I'll play a Hall of the Storm Giants, which is also untapped and good later, but for now, I'll play, well, it reads like an 0-4. It says it's an 0-4, but it's actually a hidden 7-8. It comes into play with 4 ice counters. It's Thing in the Ice, right? Obviously, it's like Avatar. But whenever I cast a spell, it removes one of those ice counters. If I remove the 4th ice counter, it is a 7-8 horror that bounces every non-horror creature once it flips.
I'll end my stare down with casting an opt. So let me check out the top card.
Is it an 0-4?
It's not an 0-4. I will put it to the bottom now. Draw a replacement.
Is that an 0-4?
I'll play a Drowned Catacomb and cast Thought Erasure. Thought Erasure is a very nice 2-mana sorcery. It reads, target opponent reveals their hand. I may choose a non-land card out of your hand, and then you discard that card.
So may I interest you in the card that is the deck named around?
Okay, let's check that out. At the beginning of combat of your turn, if you've cast 3 or more instant or sorcery spells this turn, return Archlight Phoenix from your graveyard to the battlefield. So you can either have a 4-mana Phoenix or a free one from your graveyard.
I also have a 1-mana 1/1, a Charter Course, and
I will pick the Charter Course because that seems like the only way you can actually put your Phoenix into your graveyard right now.
it's too smart.
Then I'll surveil 1. So I check the top card of my library, and that needs to stay there.
Okay, so it looks like I have nothing going on anymore. But I drew the best card. Will you have a guess?
The 0-4?
It's an 0-4! So it reads like an 0-4. Okay, never mind. I'll put another counter on it. And then we'll play a Spire Bluff Canal untapped, and it's your turn.
I will draw. I'll play a tapped land and pass the turn.
Normally in Magic, you don't want to just play your Lightning Bolt on your opponent when they have full life, because it's a card you might want to use later. But in this time, we will make an exception, because A, I want to use the mana right now, so I don't have to use it later, and the game might be short, so I don't get to use it. But also B, I want to remove a counter from those Stingy Ices right now, so maybe next turn I can cast 3 other spells and attack in the same turn. I'm gonna make a red and deal you 1 damage. Now the big part about this is not dealing you 1 damage. Also when you die you would get exiled. I will remove 1 counter from each of my Thing in the Eyes. Draw. Let me introduce you to the banned card of the deck, Expressive Iteration.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I look at the top 3 cards of my library. And then I can choose one, put them into my hand, choose one, play him this turn, and one of them goes to the bottom. Let me tell you, they are good. I will take this one into my hand. I will show you an island that I can play this turn, and this one goes on the bottom of my library. Now, I've cast a spell. You know what that means. I'll play the island for the turn, because that's what I can do. And it's your turn.
I won't do anything. I will draw, though. I'll play a Fable Passage and search my library for a basic. I'll get myself an island and use all of my mana to cast an Inverter of Truth. Now, that one is a 4-mana 6/6 flyer. Pretty good stat line, better than an 0/4 for sure. But it also has an important line of text. When Inverter of Truth enters the battlefield, exile all cards from your library face down. All right, so these are now all exiled over here. And then shuffle all cards from my graveyard into my library.
Your library is now 3 bad cards.
And now it's a 6/6 blocker. Go ahead.
I need a little help from my friend. I'm gonna tap 2 and play a Charter Course. I draw 2 and then I discard unless I have attacked this turn. Now, I have not attacked this turn, which means unfortunately I get to discard a card. But first, it's getting warmer. You can already feel the toes.
Climate change.
I draw 2. I'll discard the Phoenix. That was the Phoenix sound.
I assume
Have
so
you heard
much.
it? Now, I will cast a Consider. That removes the last counters from my Thingy Ices.
Whoa, it's finally so warm in here.
So that means one of them is going to flip. It's now a 7/8 and it bounces all non-horror creatures. Now you've wondered maybe why it says non-horror.
Okay, so this is a horror. Eldrazi. All right, I'll take this one back to my hand.
So it means that other Thingy Ices still stay on the battlefield and also turn into 7/8s. Now to the Consider part. I can tell you, if this is a Phoenix, I win the game.
All right, good luck.
It's not.
I was actually kind of terrified because you're absurdly lucky, just in general.
He isn't wrong, but unfortunately this is only Steam Winds, so we're gonna put the Steam Winds into my graveyard and draw a bonus card. Okay. I will Flame Blast Bolt one of my horrors, because that means that's the 3rd spell I've cast this turn, and if I go to combat, it reanimates the Phoenix.
That was a good Phoenix impression.
Thank you. You know, it's also a really good impression. Dunk, dunk, dunk.
All right.
So let me reiterate. You have 3 cards in the library and are 2 life. Your turn.
13 cards, isn't that great? I'll draw. Let me introduce you to my final trick. It's a Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. How do you feel about that one? It's a 4-mana Planeswalker. If I would draw a card while my library has no cards in it, I win the game instead of drawing the card. And now I will use Jace's Plus ability. Target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into the graveyard. And then I draw a card. So I will mill 2 cards. 1, 2. And then I'll draw a card. But there's nothing to draw. So I win. Isn't that nice?
During the games, we get to sideboard, meaning we get to take out cards that we don't want for cards that we actually do want. Now, I have a lot of cards that I don't want because they interact with creatures, and Jamin doesn't really play creatures, he just wants to win the game. So we're bringing in a lot of interaction spells that do actually do something, like counter his cards, prevent him from drawing, make me find our own good cards, and that means the matchup shifts dramatically because we take out 10 cards and bring in 10 better ones.
Thoralf's deck can't even interact with my main game plan in game 1. He doesn't even have a counter spell. But one thing is certain, he'll bring in a bunch of spells to combat that in game 2. So I bring in my own counter spells to counter his counter spells.
I've realized in sideboarding we're doing wrong.
You play, yeah?
I'm down on the crown matchup, so I'm gonna get a crown.
Well done.
Actually, I don't want to just get even.
Can we get started? Oh my, I got out-crowned. Now I know what you felt like in game 1. Out-crowned.
I don't understand. I thought this was like a good thing to give me good luck, but I don't have a land.
I'll keep. My hand's really good, even though it doesn't have any counter spells. It has the combo and it has interaction in the form of this card. Let's go.
Okay, maybe it's all just a sign for the way. Remember from game 1 our starting hand that I said it was not good because it was too slow? Now this hand is also slow, but we sideboarded 10 cards that we now want to look for, and that means drawing those cards is much more important, and once we find them, we can justify having such a slow draw. I will have to put down this Charter Course.
You have to put the...
I mean, it's definitely not a Charter Course.
Oh, all right.
Start of the game, but I will not deal you 1 damage. I will play this as a land, tapped, because that's what it can do.
I will draw and deal myself some damage by shocking a Watery Grave and then casting a Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize. Target player reveals his or her hand and you choose an online card from it. That player discards that card and I lose 2 life.
So I show you the definition of value.
Damn. That is a really good hand.
And I now understand all this mulligan thing wasn't a punishment. It was a test of faith. And I faded, so I got rewarded.
Of course. Well, I'm gonna try and mess up your curve by taking that expressive iteration into the graveyard, please.
It's gone.
Go ahead.
Untap and draw. And then play the Hall of the Storm Giants you saw and pass the turn.
I'll play a tapped Fetid Pools and pass the turn back.
At the end of the turn, I will have to consider.
What are you considering?
I play this spell. I think we're gonna keep that. And then we untap and draw. Play an island and a Narset.
Yep.
Each opponent can draw more than 1 card each turn, which is fantastic against a deck who wants to draw many cards.
Narset resolving is kind of the downside of my hand. It didn't have any counter spells initially, but it doesn't stop the combo outright because I can combo with Thassa's Oracle and even with Jace. I can just keep the Jace alive 1 turn and I can still combo.
And I will -2 her to look at the top 4 cards of my library, pick any spell, this one, and then put it into my hand. And it's your turn. And just as an advice, because it's easily forgettable, don't draw more than 1 card each turn.
I won't. For now, I'll draw 1 card because I will scry 1, put that on the bottom of my deck, and then I'll draw a card off of Opt. I'll take my turn, play a Swamp, and pass it back to you.
Ah, that's good. I like this level of cruising. I draw a card. And since we're very chill, I will take 2 from my Steam Vents and play a Pieces of the Puzzle. It would reveal the top 5 cards of my library and then put 2 instances and sorceries from them into my hand, the rest into my graveyard.
I guess it can resolve.
So let's look at the top 5 cards. We have a land, a Charter Course, a Phoenix, another land, and a Consider. As promised, I will take 2 instances sorceries, and then all those 3 go into my graveyard. That's really sad. And then since I have a Narset which can still be activated, we're gonna do that. We're gonna look at the top 4 and pick a non-creature card. I'll show you this galvanic iteration. I am in a great situation. This position looks so chill because we get to feel our hand. If Jamin wants to go into the combo, be my guest, then we just counter everything after. If you play something threatening now, we can miss, you could be disputed. I feel super safe.
I'll just take my turn. Kalitas is big game here because I assume Thoralf is keeping up Mystical Dispute, but Kalitas is not blue, but it still exerts a lot of pressure onto Thoralf. This time, on turn 4, I won't just cast my Inverter of Truth. Instead, I'll cast a different 4-mana creature. I'll cast a Kalitas.
This is bad. This is bad. I repeat, this is bad. Bad, bad, bad.
Kalitas is a 4-mana 3/4 lifelink creature. If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile that card and put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. And also for 3 mana, I can sacrifice another zombie to put 2 +1/+1 counters on Kalitas.
At the end of the turn, I have to reconsider my life choices. I think this is good enough, so we're gonna keep it. Draw a bonus card for my turn. Pathway on red, flawless. And the Galvanic Iteration. Now, whenever you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, I copy it. And then I will cast an Anger of the Gods. Anger of the Gods says, deal 3 damage to each creature, and it happens again because of the iteration. So Kalitas takes 3.
Takes a total of 6, huh?
And then Kalitas takes 3. Now, here's the ironic part. He gets exiled.
He gets exiled. The Kalitas that wants to exile everyone.
Poetic justice. And with that, I end my turn.
Let's see what my turn has to offer. I will. Up. Nope, no good. Put that away. Kalitas is dead. I drew a land for the turn, and I suspect if I just do nothing this turn, Thoralf is really gonna pull ahead in card advantage. However, he had to spend a bunch of resources to get rid of the Kalitas, so going for the combo here is still very potent. Grab myself an island, and I will need to cast my favorite creature of the deck. It's an Inverter of Truth.
Already, yes.
Yeah, you remember the deal. I exile my library, it's gone. And my graveyard becomes my new library.
So you have a 6/6 that kills me in 3 turns. Possibly, I mean, hopefully for you, at least 1.
I'm on the beatdown plan right now.
I mean, so far that's gonna work. Not gonna lie. I'm gonna tap 2 and play a Charter Course. So I draw 2 and discard 1.
Sure.
I will discard this Lightning Axe because it's not good enough. And then I will tap a blue to cast an Opt.
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna accept this card. And then we're gonna tap 2 more to cast another turquoise.
Okay.
Draw 1, 2, discard a Steam Vents. And then, for my island, in combat, I've played 3 spells.
You did. How does that 3-2 match up against my 6-6?
It blocks once.
Let's see what my deck has to offer for me. Now, you suspected it already, but I'll cast a Jace.
I cannot let you have that. I will dispute it. Mystical Dispute costs 3 mana, but it costs 2 less if I target a blue spell, and I can counter a spell unless its controller pays 3 more.
I don't have 3 additional mana. I will play the Fabled Passage that we know
Hey!
of. Let's check what's in my library.
Opt, Thoughtseize.
There's no more basic.
It seems a bit silly.
Yeah, to do it, right?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you why. I'll cast Fatal Push destroys target creature if it has converted mana cost 2 or less. Wait, this one has cost 4. There's Revolt on this card. Destroy target creature if it has converted mana cost 4 or less. Instead, if a permanent I controlled left the battlefield this turn. Alright, let's do some quick maths. This times 3 is 18 damage, and I have 3 cards in my library.
I'm at 18.
Attack you for 6.
Is that smug space for free, or does it come with the attack?
Go ahead.
I think we have everything under control except for the fact that if Jamin does actually draw this Thoughtseize, and that library is pretty small, there's a pretty decent chance he's gonna draw it. So you wait for it. I will cast a Pieces of the Puzzles.
Pieces.
Which shows you a lot more cards and 2 more Pieces. I will take those 2 cards, so they go into my graveyard. And then I will cast Treasure Cruise. I will exile 7 cards. Not the Phoenix. And then I'll get to draw 3 cards. Look at that. For the single casting cost of 1 blue mana, I will play a Stormsea Coast, which enters untapped. And for blue, I'll cast my 3rd spell, which is an Opt. No. This one. Oh god, so many cards in hand.
So that's 3 spells.
Yes, and I will bring back the 1 Phoenix I have.
Sure, I'll take 3.
No. It's on defense mode. It will block.
All right. I know there's a Thoughtseize between these 3, which might be helpful. Let's see. First, I'll take you, Thoralf.
For a whopping 6, also known as half of my life total.
I mean, the Phoenix didn't stay back for nothing, did it?
No, it did not. It stayed back to go back in his housing place for the night.
And I'm on empty. Go ahead.
You seem like you have a plan.
Stop! During your upkeep, I'll cast an Off.
Oh, smarty!
I get to draw a card during your
You
turn.
do get to draw a card. Yes, it resolves.
Believe it or not, it's the final Off.
So now you put it on.
I'll put it on the bottom and draw Thoughtseize instead.
Oh. I will draw.
Sure.
Have you ever watched Game of Thrones?
Actually, I haven't.
Let me show you what Game of Thrones is about in 1 card. I will play a Jace Wielder of Mysteries.
It's about Jace?
It's about betrayal. So this Jace, who was formerly working for you, is now working for me. But Jace is still doing the same thing he did before, so you're going to milk hard. And one of us is still winning by having no cards in the library.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's not supposed to be you. It is me.
I'll mill my Op.
Featured by the actual real crown. Game of Thrones, you see the blades connected. It's your turn.
It's my turn.
I'm a gracious god.
I'm gonna untap my stuff, and then I'm gonna draw my card for the turn.
Oh, but you have no card.
I have no card. Game 3.
After sideboarding, I sideboarded 2 Anger of the Gods because I was expecting Jamin to bring the pack rats. We played a very long game and I didn't see any pack rats, so you tell me, but it is not there. So that means I don't want Anger of the Gods in my deck. In fact, it's kind of bad because it doesn't get rid of Kalitas, which you've seen in the game. Now I have Lava Cards that I boarded out, so I'm gonna bring them back in and ditch the Angers because they're not good enough.
In Game 3, I have a huge advantage, and it's a simple one. I'm on the play. That's why I'm bringing back in Censor and Pack Rats to start the beatdown plan. I'll go first on this one, but I didn't want to be out-crowned anymore, so I got myself a Tiara.
Oh, as in the game, I expected your move. And I raise you. The King's Fur.
Well, it's nice of you, but I anticipated that move, and I brought a King's Chain. Any upgrades?
No.
Oh, I had a whole bunch of
But
I keep.
I keep as well. Yes, I know we only have one land, but we also have 2 considers. So that means 2 considers with 2 surveils and 2 draw steps. We look 6 cards deep into our library to find maybe the next or the next 2 lands. This is very likely. And besides that, we have 2 mystical disputes and 2 Narsets, which really set up the interaction. This hand looks quite weak, but it's actually very, very powerful.
I'll shock myself. And you didn't mulligan to 6 this game,
No.
but I'll make you. How about the Thoughtseize?
Well, you said you make a fool and make a decision, but actually there is no decision because every time everything I have comes in doubles. So it doesn't even matter what you do.
The only person I see checkmated is you with 1 land here, so get rid of that consider.
Draw?
Yeah, sure.
It might not be a land. I will play the Steam Vents untapped.
Okay.
And it's your turn.
I will play a Drowned Catacomb and cast a Pack Rat. Now, it's a 2-mana 1/1, but power and toughness of Pack Rat are equal to the number of rats I control. Right now it's a 1/1 because it's the only rat on the battlefield, but for 3 mana I can discard a card from my hand to put a token into play that's a copy of Pack Rat.
I can't do anything about it. I mean, no, I can do something about it, so we have to figure it out. We have a lot of cards to look at, and we need to prioritize everything to find the removal spells for this Pack Rat. Once that Pack Rat multiplies, we're toast. I will, at the end of turn, consider. I'm not gonna lie, we're in panic mode here, so we have to find something. It is a land, which I also need. Nothing that gets rid of the Pack Rat, so it's gonna put it into the graveyard, draw a card, and then untap 1 time. I will cast the Opt and look at the card. Yet another land. I was really good at drawing the lands, so this one is not good enough. And for the last hope, I definitely had it. I will play a Steam Vents tapped, and it's your turn.
I'll untap. Ooh, tapped Steam Vents. That's scared talk. I'll head into the red zone.
For 1?
Nah. I'll discard an island and create a Pack Rat token. It doesn't have haste, it doesn't enter attacking, but it still makes this one a 2/2. So you take 2.
Yes, untap, draw. Okay, we have to do some damage control, or in this case, pest control. I will Lava Coil this one. Lava Coil deals 4 damage to die creature. If it dies, it would be exiled. Now this is a token, it doesn't get nowhere except for removed from the game entirely.
How much spot removal have you boarded against the Thassa's Oracle Jace combo deck? I'll do the same thing as last turn. I'll attack you for 1, but then I'll discard a Dig Through Time this time to make that 2 damage off of 1 rat.
When are you casting your next blue spell?
Any moment.
I will play a blue land and a Narset. Narset ends with 5 counters, and I will immediately remove 2 to look at some solutions I have lined up. I do not. I will show you a Temporal Trespass and then put that into my hand, pass the turn.
All right. I'll draw a card. This Pack Rat will attack Narset, and this Pack Rat will attack you.
Yes.
And before, do you have any blockers?
No, I do not block.
Before damage, I will discard a Thought Erasure to make another Pack Rat token. So both you and the Narset take 3 damage.
Yep.
Anything?
No, she's gone.
All right.
Untap. Okay, how do we deal with all of this? Well, it definitely starts with another Narset. Narset gets 5 counters. She will go to 3. We'll get the top 4 cards of my library. I will take this one. I'm going to play Steam Vents tapped and pass the turn.
You pass the turn.
Yes.
Now, usually, I'm a big fan of attacking Narset, but I'm attacking you.
I'm not going to block.
All right. How about I discard another Dig Through Time, make a Pack Rat?
So now you have 4 Pack Rats.
Yes.
And they're still not disputable.
They're not.
Can I try to dispute each one of them?
What?
I take 12. Well done.
We both had 4 of a kind.
Yes.
Let's go! Semifinals. What would you say an inverted Pack Rat means?
Tar.
Tar.
Yeah. Am I now obliged to lose all of my king items?
Yes.
Can we be both kings?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, let me stack all of them on top of it. Wait, no! Ah, that's too many!